I don't want to cry right now. Oh, God, you suck.
Thanks.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Oddity Files.
Podcast. All things creepy,
Cryptic.
otherworldly. Oddity Files. Oddity Files, the podcast.
Here we are in the podcast dungeon with Oddity Files, the podcast. And we're pretty stoked, as always. Your shirt is awesome, by the way.
Thanks.
Oh, I
Got
forgot
it.
to tell you guys, but you guys know, but the people that are listening don't know. We have a new sponsor. It's audible.com, and we are so happy to have them on board. I have a lot of time to read, but I don't like to read because it usually puts me asleep on the plane. But Audible is audiobooks, and we have a super exciting offer that if you sign up for audible.com through audibletrial.com/oddityfiles, you get a free book.
Whoa.
And my story, I have the perfect book for you. So there you go. You go to audibletrial.com/oddityfiles. And I think I'm going to become smarter because I've joined and I'm going to listen to
And
all
you
the
just
books.
get a free book.
Yeah. So yay. Welcome, Audible. We love you.
So how was your trip? You just got back from Salt Lake.
Salt Lake was amazing. I have a feeling, give me 3 years, I'll move there because it's gorgeous. The weather is amazing. The people are so nice. They're like Midwest nice there.
Yeah, they really are.
It's like I'm walking through the convention floor and all you hear is, oh, sorry, oh, sorry, oh, sorry. You're in the bathroom. The girls are, oh, sorry, oh, sorry. It's like they're my people. I apologize for everything that's not my fault. But it was a blast. And you were in Chicago?
Yes. Chicago was great. Easter weekend, everything went really smoothly, and it was just pretty laid back.
Awesome.
Did you see that I took Coda?
To Chicago?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, because the Hyatt Regency is pet friendly.
What?
Yeah, and I was like, Kylo loves the border so much, so
Yeah.
like he'll be fine there. But I'm not going to drive 2 hours to Louisville to take her to my mom's
Right.
to like only drive 2.5 hours north. You know, like that's just stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she loved it. She was like queen of the castle in that hotel room.
Oh,
just
yay.
Literally every time we would take her out, though, she was just the life of the party
Oh, I'm sure.
and
Because she's
was
so
getting
sweet.
all the attention. But
She's a boxer?
yeah,
Okay. She's so sweet.
but Carter was like, I didn't know this hotel was pet friendly.
He's like, I'd have taken Mason.
Well, that's what he said. For next time that we're there, he's gonna bring Mason. I was like, do it. All you have to do is let them know when you check in that you have a pup.
Oh, that's so awesome. I
Yeah.
love that. My dogs are far too big to even sit in the car for
That was the other
length of
thing. I
time.
was like, I know I couldn't even sneak Kylo around
Yeah.
because, well, obvious reasons.
Yeah. Great Dane and all.
Um,
Yeah. So I did meet some really cool people in Salt Lake, which I'll tell you about because it has to do with my story and why I wrote the story that I
Oh.
did. Do you have paranormal in the news?
I do.
Do you? Oh, I have
Yeah.
a quick one, and it might actually be the same one. So go.
Well, it's not. It's a sad paranormal in the news.
Oh, okay.
Lorraine Warren passing
Oh.
away.
Yeah, that is. But you know, she lived a really long life. She was 92,
Mm-hmm.
and she just accomplished
So much.
so much.
Yeah.
So I mean,
I mean, I
that's
don't
the
know
way I
if
want to go.
we would be doing the things that we're doing and the caliber that we're doing them if it wasn't for her and Ed.
Absolutely not. They were my paranormal heroes, both of them. But now she's with Ed, and
It's just crazy that they're both gone now.
I know it's. But again, they both lived very long lives. They accomplished so much, and it's kind of a happy ending because now they're back together
True.
somewhere,
I
wherever
know
that
she
is.
was like my dream celeb interview for the podcast.
Yeah. Well, you were saying when I told you about it that you were just talking about
That
how
day.
you hope to meet her.
Or that like the evening before driving to Chicago.
Oh, it's nuts.
I mentioned that.
Actually, the night before I found out about it, I had a dream that I was trying to get everybody like in our work group to a memorial. And my dreams are usually stressing out because I can't get something done. That's just who I am. But it was to a memorial. It was an Elvis memorial. But I mean, she was the Elvis
That's
of the
fine.
paranormal world.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was just really weird. One, I never remember my dreams and what the extent of it is.
Sure.
Usually I know I'm stressing out about something. But the fact that it was a memorial and I wake up to that information and that you were just talking about her, it was just kind of weird.
It is very weird.
It's like she left her mark on all of us that adored her.
Literally, and then she said, "It's my time."
Yep, exactly.
I mean, I guess we could still interview her potentially.
It'll just take the Wonder Box to do
Just
so.
using the Wonder Box.
Yeah. Oh my God, could you imagine? Oh, she would tell us all the secrets
Right.
now. My real quick paranormal in the news is local.
Oh. April
Bigfoot.
Fool's local?
I'm sorry?
April Fool's local or?
Well, very similar to that
Oh.
story. It was April 11th is when the story broke. Bigfoot observed near Turkey Run State Park,
Whoa.
Indiana. So on the night of March 30th, 2019, at around, that is April Fool's night is when it happened, though. But the story was written April.
That's okay.
So we'll take this with a grain of salt. Still a really good story.
Still.
On the night of March 30th, 2019, at around 11:30 p.m., 3 companions had been at a campground in the vicinity of Turkey Run State Park. This comes to us from phantomsandmonsters.com. KS is what we'll call the person this happened to because apparently they don't want their name known. There's that tongue click again. So the group observed a hair-covered bipedal creature with a large frame hitting a medium-sized tree with a piece of wood. The being was approximately 80 to 100 feet from them and standing at the edge of the woods. KS stated that he's 6'2" and would have stood mid-chest high to this creature. He believes that the height to be at least 8 foot tall. I mean, I knew Bigfoot was big. 8 foot seems like a lot.
It does seem like a lot.
They were shocked at the total size. And pretty much all the animal was doing, I guess you'd call it an animal. It was beating on the tree and then just like waving its arms in the air, which says to me, it's telling these people, get the fuck out of my woods.
Yeah.
And then finally it just stops, kind of grunts like, ugh, and walks away.
Whoa.
And then they took off because they couldn't handle it anymore.
Well, the whole story that my dad saw Bigfoot or had a Bigfoot experience was kind of in that area.
Really?
Yeah.
For some reason, I thought it happened up north.
Isn't Turkey Run up north?
I thought it was mid-state. I don't know. I've only been like once.
Oh, maybe I'm wrong. We always had my dad's side family reunion at Turkey Run.
Oh, okay.
So that's why I always just assumed we were going north. I don't really know where it is.
Well, it's north from here.
Sure. But, the same general area.
Yeah.
Indiana.
There you go. But
That's
I
crazy.
just kind of picture it just trying to get the people to leave.
Yeah.
It's like it just kind of huffs and walks away.
Well, but in my dad's story, Bigfoot or the being, they didn't actually see anything. They like smelt it and they heard it and they saw it was night and they were hunting. So they just saw like a black outline of a figure on the tree line. Mm-hmm. And then
a shadowy figure, if you will.
yes, and then it was just standing there and they were like yelling at it, trying to get it to go away because they thought it was one of their friends messing with them. They were in college at the time.
Uh-huh.
And they're hunting and they're like we're going to fire.
Yeah.
Why would you fuck with someone trying to or like hunting
With
at night?
guns, yeah, or whatever it is they have.
Right. And then, like you said, it just eventually turned around and walked away. And when it did, there was a large crack, like it stepped on a branch or something.
Yeah.
And that's when they turned around and ran once it wasn't looking at them anymore because they were kind of scared to turn around and run while it was looking at them.
Yeah, you don't want to turn your back
Yeah.
to something that ginormous.
But he went back the next day and they went to that exact same spot. And there was right where the figure was standing behind it, there was this large log that he said was like 6 to 8 inches thick that was just snapped in half, like where something had broken or stepped on it.
Wow.
So like a human, you couldn't just step on that and break it.
No, not at all. That's crazy. I love that story and that your dad has Bigfoot ties.
I know. A paranormal story.
Yes. And Bob, our Bigfoot mascot sitting right above my head. Love
Oh,
him.
yeah. Hey,
Thanks,
Bob.
Lisa. Nothing creepy going on in my world, but I feel like I haven't been home in ages. It's not true,
I
but
know. However, in 3 days, 2 days, 3 days, 3 days,
quite a few days.
3 days. That's it.
No, I said quite a few days. Like no days. The big one.
The big one.
The bucket list.
That it's going to take a lot after this to to measure
Oh
up.
my God. We should like record a podcast there. Or at least maybe bring a recorder and just
And just to implement bites into the
yes.
episode of
The next
us
episode
being
afterwards.
Terrified.
Yes. I
I'm
love
going
it.
to be terrified.
I'm already a little terrified.
I know that I can sit here right now and be like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so excited! I'm gonna go down the death tunnel and blah blah blah." Blah. I'm already terrified.
Have you been in the death tunnel?
I've never been.
It's
Period.
fucking creepy. Oh, we just gave away where we're going.
Surprise.
But we can't say anymore. I actually spoke to somebody this weekend at the event I was at, and she said it is her number one bucket list place to go. And I'm like,
It is a lot of people.
yeah. And I'm like, well, you know, I'm thinking about rebooking it again next year. Now that I know when you have to do it and how you have to do it. And I'm like, there's like three or four of us that go. She goes, no, I need at least 10 other people there
No
with
way.
me.
Been there, done that.
Yeah.
Well, actually, so we talked about that, and we also talked about bringing my sister along for
Yes.
the first part because she's very, as we've talked about in past episodes, she's very into the whole spiritual realm, if you will.
Yeah.
Should we just call her right now and invite her?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, 1 second.
Here, I'll be real quiet.
I want to cry right now.
That's how I felt when I booked it.
Oh my gosh.
All right, well, we'll get
Now
you
I'm
all
going
the.
the entire freaking week, dude. Like I'm gonna be shaky until Monday.
We'll get you all the details and stuff and figure it out. But we just wanted to all three be together and call and tell you.
Oh my gosh, I don't think I can talk right now. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, I want to cry right now. Oh, God, you suck.
Thanks.
Oh, I'm so excited.
All right, well, we will talk to you soon, okay?
Okay, I love you all.
Love you.
I can't wait to see you.
Oh, I can't wait.
Bye.
All right, bye.
Oh my God.
I knew you were going to say that. How many times did she say that?
I love it. I love it.
Oh,
it's
it's
going to
so
be my
funny.
new thing.
Right. She just texted me, I'm going to cry with the crying eye emoji.
Oh, yay. I'm so excited. I haven't seen her since the last time I investigated with her, which was like at least 5 years ago.
I'm actually excited for her to be in on an investigation just where she is now, like mentally and all that. I think she kind of knows how to channel this.
Good.
So I'm interested.
Yeah, me too. It'll be fun. I
It
can't
will be.
wait. We'll have to do those recordings and like get her. Oh my God. Dead what?
I said dad saves kid from dingo attack.
What? Alexa's showing us the news as always. Now she thinks I'm talking to her. Yeah, so I'm super stoked.
Me
Can't
too.
wait. Yeah, so there's my okay, so you all need to call me out every time I go because I can't seem to stop doing it. And now I notice it and it's awful.
But we're learning.
We're learning.
So get off us. I'm just kidding. You know what people could do?
What's that?
Follow us on everything.
I was just gonna go there.
you?
Look at that. Great minds think alike.
Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all that good stuff. We're Oddity Files on almost everything. We actually have the super secret Oddity Files group on Facebook.
Yep.
That's where we release all of our information first. Sometimes we do podcasts live on there and then immediately take them down so that if you're there and watching, you can kind of get a sneak peek of how this actually works and you get to see us doing this in the dungeon.
Yes, absolutely. Also, for those of you that don't know, which you should, and you should have watched it by now, season 2 is up on Amazon Prime. We have 2 full seasons of Oddity Files, the TV show, on Amazon Prime. And people are raving about it.
I know.
I'm
well,
so
this
excited.
weekend I had a decent amount of people ask me. I'm like, oh, here's a car decal.
Oh, yay. Yay. And I don't know. I'm just super duper stoked about 2 seasons. The feedback, like I said, has been great, and everybody's already ready for season 3, which is going to be a minute. So chill out, peeps. But we will definitely get there. But also back to the podcast, we need you to rate, review, and subscribe. We've got a bunch more 5 stars on Apple Podcasts, and we appreciate you guys for doing that. It means the world to us. We are super duper stoked.
And you know what I want more of?
What's that?
Listener stories.
We haven't gotten one in a hot minute.
I know. That's what I was thinking too. And when I was talking to someone about it, they're like, well, I don't have any like ghost stories. Like, they don't have to be ghosts.
No.
It can be anything just weird that happened to you at any point in your life. Maybe you think you saw aliens, or like, we're so much beyond ghosts. I know the TV show, that's what we do.
Right. Because it's the easiest to investigate.
Absolutely. No, but the podcast, we are everything that's creepy, cryptid,
Otherworldly.
So anything that, I mean, Bruce Campbell's story was an alien story.
It totally was.
So any experience that is
Even if it's just weird and coincidental.
absolutely.
Oh, you know what we forgot to tell the listeners about?
What?
Our experience. We went to Miss Huff's class and talked to them about the paranormal. She has a special needs class here in Indiana in high school. But the kids were so great.
They were incredible.
And so interested in our stories. And some of them had had their own personal
Well,
experiences.
and once we started talking to them and kind of making them a little more relaxed and everything, they all opened up. They're like, well, this happened to me and this happened to me.
I
And
know.
they asked us so many questions, which I loved. Oh, it was
was
really
great.
And then the funniest part was the teacher started getting involved and asking us questions. And there were a couple of other student aides in the room that you could tell at the beginning were kind of just like, yeah. Like,
Yeah.
and then at the end, they were asking questions. And even after we were done, that one like pulled me aside and asked me a question.
Oh, yeah. And Miss Huff, I spoke to one girl while we were there, and Miss Huff had said she has real bad social anxiety and doesn't talk to people she's not familiar
Whoa.
with. And she took me aside and started asking me questions and how she can start paranormal investigating kind of on a budget. I said,
Sure.
whip out the recorder on your phone. Start with EVPs.
Mm-hmm.
She was so excited. It was so great.
It really was. And yeah, it was just a lot of fun to get to spread the part of paranormal investigating that we always try to spread, that it's so much more beyond what's on TV and what's mainstream media, and the fact that everything's a demon and everything is trying to possess you.
Yes.
And because that is what is just plastered all over every network.
Especially now.
I know. And so that's not at all what our show is. We just want to communicate with whatever it is that's there, know why they are there, so
Yeah.
that we can tell their story.
Exactly. And they're really not that scary.
No, I mean,
They're not.
So our last investigation, I got grabbed like kind of in the butt. The footage, when that episode comes, I'm sure it's going to be a gift.
It's going to be amazing.
But I was never scared. Like, that
No.
scared me
yeah,
because it was I wasn't ready for it.
exactly.
But there are some places where you're a little scared. No.
Right. In the basement at that one place in Red Key, we were uncomfortable.
We were uncomfortable
but it wasn't scary.
but
It
not
wasn't
for
like
reasons out of like possession or
exactly. Or they're going
demons,
to
like,
kill you. That's not going to happen.
collapsing the building and all that. Like, no. And so that's
Exactly.
what it was really exciting to tell them about that and kind of be like, there's so much more to this than what networks
Yes.
put out.
Yes. It's not as scary. And it was good to tell kids that, I think.
I agree.
yeah.
It was funny though, because they would ask us questions. We were telling personal experiences, and our Australia investigation came up. And Kitsie, she was like, well, Clayton was in this wing and I was in this wing, and I was actually in a cell and I looked at her like, maybe we shouldn't say this.
Shouldn't talk about the guy that was chopped up in little pieces and flushed down the toilet.
But like, we just made this eye contact and both understood like, maybe we should divert.
Yeah.
It
And
was funny though, because
Appreciate you reeling me in
we
there.
didn't say a thing, but we both were like, Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
We
it was
are
a good
talking.
time. Yeah. But thank you, Ms. Huff, for having us. It was a blast.
It was so much fun.
So, do we have stories?
I do.
Yeah. Is it about that time? Oh, yeah.
Who goes first? I think it's Kitsie.
Kitsie, you go first this week.
Are you ready?
Yes.
So ready.
Well, I'm super ready because DJ Jimmy was like, do you know what you're doing this week? I'm like, no, we decided 15 minutes ago that we're recording tomorrow. Like, give me time. And he was like, hers is really, really cool. I'm like, what do you mean it's really cool? Like, cool typically isn't a word that we use when we talk about these stories. Like, interesting or like creepy. He's like, no, it's really, really cool.
It's insane. So, this weekend, while I was in Salt Lake, I met the gentleman who owns Skinwalker Ranch. Holy shit. Skinwalker Ranch in Utah. Do you know anything about Skinwalker
I do
Ranch?
not.
Dude.
Have any of the shows been there?
I think Ghost Adventures was investigated on the border of Skinwalker
Okay, then
Ranch.
keep going.
So the ranch is located in, I'm going to spell it, Uintah, Uintah County, bordering the Ute Indian Reservation. In Navajo culture, a skinwalker, which is in Navajo pronounced ye. I'm not even gonna fucking try. It's
This is
an
week
Indian
2
word.
with an Indian story.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's a type of harmful witch who has the ability to turn into, possess, or disguise themselves as an animal. The term is never used for healers. I must have copied and pasted that last part because I don't remember that. The legend of the Skinwalker is not well understood outside of Navajo culture, mostly due to the reluctance to discuss the subject with outsiders. So this Skinwalker, it's a Navajo thing, but they're terrified to talk about it. It's just so terrifying they don't talk about it. Navajo people are reluctant to reveal Skinwalker lore to non-Navajos or to discuss it at all among those they do not trust. So here's what I was able to find out about skinwalkers all over the interwebs. A skinwalker is a person with the ability to transform into any different type of animal at will. They're most frequently seen as coyotes, wolves, foxes, eagles, owls, or crows. So it kind of has hints of your story from last weekend about the Thunderbird.
Yeah.
Some also steal the faces of different people and could appear as someone you know. If you accidentally lock eyes with a skinwalker, they can absorb themselves into your body and take control of your actions.
But listen, kids, it's not all about possession.
This is what I found on the interwebs. Rare skinwalkers can also have the ability to enact the powder of corpses and use the substance as a poison dust on victims. I have no idea what that means, but it sounds
gosh.
terrible. If their other powers weren't enough, skinwalkers are also said to be able to run incredibly long distances. Some say over 200 miles in one evening.
Whoa.
They can take many forms. Many people who see them today describe them as hollowed out dog-like animals.
Chupacabra.
With all of their advantages, it's said that you can kill a skinwalker if you call them by their true human name.
This is literally how you get to a demon.
Literally.
The exact same way you get to a demon.
Yes. People believe that the rake, have you ever heard of the rake? It's creepypasta internet lore. Oh, I have a picture. Some people believe that the rake, which is commonly encountered in the Northeast, is similar to the skinwalker. You want to see what this thing looks like?
Oh, yes, I've seen that picture.
Terrifying.
Yes.
Terrifying. But they think that's what skinwalkers look like
That's
as well.
terrifying.
Okay. As if all of that isn't creepy enough, Skinwalker Ranch claims so much more than just skinwalker activity.
Okay.
The ranch is 480 acres, and before it became known as Skinwalker Ranch, it was simply known as the Sherman Ranch. And way, way, way before that, it was sacred land of the Ute Native American tribe. And legend has it that it was part of a dispute between the Ute and Navajos, and the Navajos cursed the land. A bit of the story that began with the obsession of this 480-acre plot goes a little something like this. The Shermans bought the land, and it was considered to be the deal of the century. Super cheap, 480 acres. They wanted to be ranchers, so it was absolutely perfect. They wanted to raise high-quality Black Angus cattle and live out their dreams on this gorgeous property. I mean, there's rivers, there's mountains, it's just
Utah.
stunning.
Ugh.
Yeah. But strange things started happening the day they moved in.
What?
The first incident was that of what can only be described as a dire wolf.
Okay.
Anybody watched Game of Thrones? They're ginormous
Yes.
wolves. However, they've been considered extinct for hundreds of years and were only indigenous in Ireland, Scotland area.
Gotcha.
Over there. Like I said, it's described as a huge wolf. The creature has traits that observers say are not normal, such as they can walk upright, running on all fours with an erratic, crooked gait, and brazenly approaching humans in broad daylight. So back to the Shermans. They were unpacking, and they spotted what they thought was an enormous coyote or wolf on one of their passengers. Strangely, the animal approached them, and family members began to pet it. It had been a rainy day, and the ranchers said the creature just smelled like wet dog. After a few minutes, this wolf sauntered over to a livestock pen, grabbed a baby calf through the things in the fence. Lost my place. Grabbed that baby calf by the nose, trying to pull it through the corral bars. So Sherman, the rancher, they tried beating the animal to make it release the calf. When that failed, he shot at the animal with a .357 Magnum at point blank range, and it kept its jaws on the calf the entire time.
Whoa.
It released the calf after he shot at it several times, but didn't run. It stood watching the family, and Sherman continued shooting it, but there was no blood, no sign of injury on the animal, and it just slowly backed off. So then Sherman grabbed a hunting rifle and shot at it again at point blank range. Finally, this shot produced a piece of skin and hair from the wolf that fell off the body, but the animal was still calm. After a few more shots, it trotted off across the pasture into a wet, brushy area. And Sherman tracked it, and he couldn't find it. He followed the tracks, and then it just
Did he
seemed
keep the
to
chunk of hair?
disappear. Yes. There was a break in there. That's why that was wrong. So Sherman tracked it for more than a mile, and then the trail vanished. But when they picked up the hair and the fur, it had already started decomposing and smelled awful.
What?
I know. What the actual fuck?
Did they just keep going?
And like I said, this was day one on the ranch. Strange things continued to happen. Weird lights in the sky, UFOs hovering over the grounds, poltergeist activity in their house, and with the livestock. Insane.
Is it at like a terribly unfortunate magnetic cross field?
Not that they know of. Or not that is documented anywhere.
Oh.
One of the crazy stories of the poltergeist activity goes a little something like this. In 1999, the family had noticed some odd footprints on the ranch, like nothing they had ever seen before, which made the family nervous because they had already lost over a dozen of their cattle to previous weird experiences. You know, like the alien stuff where it's like inside out, or it's just like the skeleton and the head and all the fur and muscle and everything's gone.
I would have a camera on my stuff all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
Think about if you caught an alien skinning a cow, how much you could sell that footage for.
Oh, I know. Well, they have the footage of the skeleton and no blood on the ground and everything right after they they found a calf at one point. And it was a baby calf. So they had just tagged the ear with those big plastic things. And the ear was cut off at such precision, only like a surgical knife could have done it.
No way.
There's so many stories. And I'm only touching on a few because, we'd be sitting here for 14 hours, me telling you all these stories. Okay, so they had already had over a dozen of their cattle go through shit. Typically cattle mutilation. But on this day, they're prized bulls. 4 huge, like 2,000-pound, huge steers, right? That's what the boys are. Were in their corral. They're doing just fine. So the Shermans headed somewhere else on the ranch to do rancher shit. And even commented, if we lost these animals, it would financially ruin them.
Oh my gosh.
Then they come back less than an hour later to find the bulls missing.
What?
Just gone. Seriously. And there was complete silence as well. And, steers are just loud, fucking filled with testosterone animals. And after making sure that all the corrals were secure, and they couldn't have gotten out, on their own, and there was no spot anywhere that the bulls could have gotten out. So in a panic, they're checking other corrals. Everything, it's flat where they're at, so that you can see all these corrals, but they're checking they were just in complete panic mode. And then they noticed a trailer, several locked and shut corrals over. And on a whim, Mr. Rancher Man goes and decides to check the small trailer. It's like a small storage unit size. And it only had one way in and one way out. And when he opened it, he found all of the bulls inside this tiny trailer in a trance-like state.
What?
It's completely quiet, shoulder to shoulder. And he could tell that this door, the only door in and out, hadn't been opened because, he heard the cobwebs breaking as he opened the door.
What the
It's
hell?
insane. Now, I don't know a whole lot about ranch shit, but I do know that bulls pretty much do whatever the fuck a bull wants. And that's corralling them or even getting them to do something they don't want to do is a royal pain in the ass. So how did these bulls end up nearly lined up shoulder to shoulder in this teeny tiny trailer? And how are they so calm in these claustrophobic conditions?
What?
2,000 pounds each. As time went on, the bulls came out of their daze and ended up freaking the fuck out and burst the sides of this trailer open.
What?
Yeah. It's insane. And there's pictures on the internet of these bulls like a couple hours after it happened, and they still just look shitty. They're like mean mugging the camera.
What?
So,
And they just have still no idea.
no, none. There's no explanation for it whatsoever. So at this time, he started talking to a reporter and things like that. And they contacted the reporter and some researchers immediately after this had happened. And the even weirder thing is when these researchers got there, they noticed that all the metal poles of these corrals were highly magnetized.
What?
I don't even know. It's the
And they were only
craziest
gone
shit.
an hour.
Not even an hour.
Not even an hour.
They just went to like the other side of the property to check on some of their other animals and came back. But you could see, like I said, it was flat land, so you could see across everything. If something like insane happened, they probably would have heard the cows quietly.
Right.
It's nuts. What? Okay. So how did they get in there? And just the calmness of them. And there was a big step up to get into this trailer. And in this documentary, which I'll talk about a little bit more that I watched about this, it's a pain in the ass to get bulls to do what you don't want them to do. If you need them to take a step up and they don't want to take it, they're not going to do it. But literally, there are so many crazy stories. And like I said, I don't have enough time to go over them all.
Sure, yeah.
Another story, real quick, was one of the rancher's sons was cutting down trees and kind of laying them on their sides to, cut up and deal with later. They went back to the ranch house, came back, and they had all been moved 100 yards away.
What?
I know. It's insane. And at this point, I mean, these researchers have been out and they've seen some weird shit themselves, but the rancher stories are the best. So, and everybody believes this guy and his family, and it's absolutely nuts. Later, the ranchers sold the property to Las Vegas billionaire and aerospace founder Robert Bigelow. Bigelow, being a huge proponent for alien research, had read the book that was written by the reporter that was there, The Hunt for the Skinwalker. You should look for that on audibletrial.com/oddity files. And he read the book, and that in turn led him to buy the property and start to do his own research. In 1995, he had also founded something called the National Institute for Discovery Science, an organization built to research paranormal phenomena. After bringing in researchers, scientists, trackers, and former military to the location for years, Bigelow deactivated the National Institute for Discovery Science in 2004 after years of failing to capture the supposedly supernatural. In the documentary, they put cameras out, not like covering the entire place, but they put cameras out
here and there.
Everything, almost everything, just happened just out of frame. It's like intelligent. Another term they use for these skinwalkers is tricksters. So it's like they are literally just fucking with these people. There is one shot of surveillance footage that, again, you'll have to watch the documentary to see, but it's like a cloudy day. You see the mountains in the background, and all of a sudden it looks like the Twin Towers appear in New York City, and then they just disappear. I have goosebumps. And it was caught on camera.
Whoa.
One, why? Two, how? Three, holy shit.
So you met the guy who owns it now?
Yes.
That's scary.
And I haven't been given permission to talk about anything that we talked about, and I won't.
Yeah.
But maybe someday we'll be able to do that. So he deactivated in 2004 after years of failing to capture the supposedly supernatural. But as the world recently discovered, he did give up. He didn't give up the cause. In December, a New York Times story revealed that Bigelow Aerospace had conducted a study of UFOs for the Pentagon.
Really?
Yeah. So the Pentagon was there investigating as well.
Yeah.
So we've got skinwalkers, check. We've got dire wolves, check. Aliens, check. And so this is nuts. This is what I want to fucking see. During the stay of the researchers, several eyewitnesses claim watching a portal open up right in front of their eyes on the property.
What?
Scientists,
I
researchers, military saw this happen. And they described exactly like every movie you've ever seen. So it was dark, and then this orange light kind of opens up, and you see the property you're on the other side of this hole, this orange light. And while they're trying to figure out what the hell is going on, they notice a shadowy figure walk through the portal into the dark side, and then the portal closes. And it gets better. The shadowy figure described sounded a whole lot like my homie, Bigfoot.
If Bigfoot is some universe hopping,
time traveling,
realm hopping.
What?
Whoa.
So Bigfoot, check. Everything happens.
Everything's there.
Everything. It has in recent years been confirmed that the government admitted to researching the property as well, above and beyond Bigelow's investigation by the Advanced Aviation Threat Identification Program, AATIP, which Clayton talked about in episode 11, fittingly called Otherworldly. And in this documentary, they show some of that footage that you had talked about, the tic-tac. So Bigelow finally sold the place to someone known, and everybody, even the guy I met who owns it now, they call him the elusive billionaire, who then opened the place up for documentarians for the filming of Hunt for the Skinwalker. I highly recommend it. It's
Cool.
on Amazon Prime. It's not free. You got to buy it. It's like 2.5, 3 hours, and your mind's blown the entire time. And has since been sold again to the gentleman I met this past weekend, who now has amazing plans of his own that I'm not 100% sure I can talk about, so I won't. But as soon as I can, you will know. And again, I could go on and on and on about the personal experiences just covered in this documentary alone.
Yeah.
But this is just the icing on the paranormal cake, if you will. But like I said, I highly recommend checking out the documentary and the book, because the book came first and then the documentary.
And those plans, are we in any of them?
Not yet.
Okay.
And that is just a partial dive. Like, you're just sticking your toe in the pool into the world of the Skinwalker motherfucking ranch.
I've never heard of that. That's
It's
absolutely incredible.
insane. Fucking insane.
That was good.
Thank you. It was a little long.
No.
And you can always tell when I get excited.
No, but it's perfect because mine's like on the shorter side.
Oh, perfect.
So I'm doing an object that, well,
I'm a huge fan of the objects.
I'll make my comment when I'm done.
Okay.
So around the 15th century, the Basano Vase was crafted from carved silver for an Italian bride as a wedding gift
Okay.
in a northern village close to Napoli. Have you ever heard of the Basano Vase?
No, but I've heard of Napoli.
Okay.
I think wines come from there.
I was nervous that you did because I think it was on Mysteries of the Museum. And I'm like, damn it, she's heard of it.
Well, keep going. I may have.
So for unknown reasons, completely undocumented, whatever. Again, this is the 15th century, so it's not like modern day at all. But for unknown reasons, she was killed on the night of her wedding.
Oh, poor thing.
Yes. In her dying breath, she wished for vengeance while clutching this silver Basano vase.
Okay.
The vase was passed from one family member to another, bringing mysterious death to anyone who owned it. Eventually, the vase completely disappeared, and they believe that it was buried on sacred ground by a priest. Fast forward to 1988,
Okay.
it's rediscovered.
Oh,
And in it
quick
is...
question.
Sure.
So she wanted vengeance. How did she die?
That's what... It's unknown. It's completely undocumented.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
But literally every family member of hers that it was passed to after also died mysteriously. So this vase is rediscovered in 1988, along with a note that says, "Beware, this vase brings death."
Oh,
And they sold it to an auction house.
of course, because
course.
that's what you do with cursed items.
Absolutely. So the first buyer was a local pharmacist. He mysteriously died 3 months after owning the vase. This is now 1988, so very modern day.
Oh,
Immediately, his family sells the vase to a surgeon, a non-believer of curses and all things paranormal and whatever. He dies 2 months after buying the vase.
fuck.
So yet again, they sell it. And it goes to an archaeologist for his private collection of Renaissance artifacts.
Because we just can't get enough of this shit.
Absolutely.
Bring it on. Kill me. I don't care.
He dies of an unknown infection 3 months later.
What?
Like an infection that isn't documented in,
Anywhere.
modern day medical.
Oh,
Kills
damn.
him.
Hello, curse.
So the family decided to sell this vase
Because,
for its bad luck because everyone just like, well, someone will buy this.
for sure. Remind me not to buy this.
Yes. And that the person, it doesn't say who that next person was that bought it, died less than a month after buying it.
Holy shit. I got to watch what antiques I'm buying.
So this group of families essentially come together, and this is the late 80s in Italy, and they're like, this thing, it's absolutely cursed.
Yeah.
Like, there's no other way about it. And in an argument, throw it out the window. And it comes
Fuck
within
this vase.
inches
Fuck
of
your
hitting
vase.
a policeman on the head.
Oh shit.
And this is so true. There's a news article about it. Who quickly fined them for disorderly conduct because they thought they were throwing some silver vase out the window at him. So the owner agreed to, like, they said, sure, we'll take the ticket, but we're not taking that vase
This
back.
is now evidence.
So the policeman offered once he like found out how old this vase was and all this, offered it to several museums, but they all refused to take it.
Oh, so they know.
Absolutely. So eventually the police buried the vase in a lead coffin in an undisclosed location or on the grounds of an ancient cemetery. Again, no one really knows. And since then, the Basano vase has still been missing and it's just waiting to be unearthed again.
Kind of like Jumanji.
To continue its killing spree.
Shit. I'd have taken... I mean, they're in Italy. Just take it to the Vatican. Here, you guys deal with this.
And then the Vatican will probably burn down.
Well, yeah, might.
Yeah, so like I said, it's super, super short, but it's crazy. And there are photos of this vase and like the newspaper clipping of the police officer that if you got hit by a lead vase in the head after it was thrown out of a multi-story window, you would have died.
Oh, for sure. But he didn't own it, so.
True.
Yet. But yeah, I kind of want to know a little bit more about this argument between the families and who
Well,
threw
they're
it
probably,
out.
you keep it. No, you can. I don't want it. Like, it already killed this many people in my family. And then, that one angry person like, fuck this, and threw it out the window.
Fuck your vase. Oh, God.
But I say we go try to find it.
No. I'm gonna.
And then sell it to Zach Bagans.
Yeah, but that means it will be ours for a moment in time, and I don't want to die.
What if we immediately ship it from Italy, where we find it, to the museum?
What if we hire people to find it?
Do we have any Italian listeners who are also treasure hunters? If so,
Yeah.
email us, oddityfilescrew@gmail.com.
I'll hunt ghosts. I'll seek otherworldly beings. I want to find Bigfoot curses. They fucking scare me.
Well,
Especially
now that
when
I know that Big Feet can just transport anywhere they want to.
How fucking cool is that? I was telling you about the one calf they found that like all the meat had been like cut off, no blood, nothing. So I'm thinking, I'm going to put this conspiracy theory out there because I have an overactive imagination. What if this portal is to the future? And what if cows don't exist anymore? And it's the only way to get a decent steak is to head out to Skinwalker Ranch, fillet up some calf, bring it back, and have a really nice barbecue.
They can only go to Skinwalker, though.
Well, that's where the
It's
portal
like the
is.
only exit that's been built so far.
I bet they're pissed there's no more cattle on there anymore. Or they may be. I don't know. I don't even know the guy. Well, actually, I do. So, cracking myself up. Yeah, it's good stories.
Yeah. Yours was awesome. Mine was short, but I was wanting
it
to
was
do another
great.
object. And then when I saw that, it was kind of funny at the same time. And I'm also intrigued by the fact that it was just buried
It's
somewhere.
just gone again. Yeah, I love it. So we really didn't talk a whole lot about ghosts, but I was talking to my friend KJ, whose podcast I'm on from time to time called
Yeah.
Kinda Nerdy Girls. And she has a crazy ghost story. So let's have her take over the ghostly side of things, if you will.
Fire away.
So I just want all my listeners to meet my good friend KJ.
Hello.
She's hanging out in the podcast dungeon at my house.
Thanks for having me. This is not a dungeon. There's light in here.
There is. Fancy red wallpaper. I'm kind of a fan.
Yes, very comfy chairs.
Well, thank you.
When you come to my studio, you'll be sitting on some sort of WrestleMania folding chair.
Well, that sounds amazing. I can't wait.
You get to sit on Mrs. Face if you come to my house.
Well, there are worse things to sit on.
Right?
So. But KJ and I have a huge love for paranormal. I've been on her podcast several times, Kind of Nerdy Girls, and definitely check it out. Subscribe on iTunes, all that good stuff. But she's got one of these stories that I have always loved. I can never remember the ghost name, but she's going to kind of let me know again, but
Yeah.
most importantly, let you guys know her personal ghost story.
Yes, his name is Frank.
Okay, Frank.
Now, I did not research him. I
Okay.
just, we coexisted long enough that he needed a name and he felt like Frank to me. That makes sense. Like,
Gotcha.
we're going to go with Frank, and he seemed cool with that.
Okay.
So he lived at my grandparents' house. The interesting thing about the story of Frank is that for years, like not both my parents, they weren't brother and sister. That's weird. My mother lived in this house, with her brothers and sisters, and no one ever talked about the ghost upstairs.
Really?
And there was a closet. It's one of those houses, those old houses where you walk up the stairs. There's a bedroom to the right, a bedroom to the left. That's
Got it.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, so when you went to the bedroom on the left, no one ever got in the closet. And over the years, boxes got stacked, like so that you couldn't get to the closet, but no one ever talked about why.
Got it.
And my sister and I, my older sister, we would dare each other to open the closet, right? And
Sister stuff.
yes, and it was terrifying. Like you never wanted to open that closet. It was just gave you that like empty, like you're gonna be like sucked into another dimension if you open that door.
It would be poltergeist.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But it wasn't until I had years later, after I had lived with my grandparents, it's when I left my parents' house and went to college. I was like, I'm never coming back.
Yeah.
I'll live with grandma and grandpa in the summer. I'm not living with you.
Yeah, been there, done that.
But I had to share this room. And it was the other room. So it wasn't the room with the scary closet.
Okay.
It was the other room that I lived in. But I always felt like someone was at the door.
Okay.
And then it got to where my jewelry was moving around too much for it to not be somebody moving my jewelry. And it's not my grandparents. They can't even get upstairs.
That's creepy.
Right?
Yeah.
So like my earrings would end up in different places. My class ring would end up, like I'd wake up and it would be next to the nightstand and I knew that I had put it on the dresser when I walked in. And then, you start testing it out. Like I am putting this here and I know I'm putting this here. And then I started hearing things. And so finally it just got to the point where I was like, dude, like we can coexist, but I need to be able to find my crap.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
So, I named him Frank and I figured my grandparents must know. They've lived here forever. They
Right,
know
of
about
course.
they know about the scary closet. Now I know the scary closet is Frank and he's not so scary to me because he just, likes to mess with my stuff. So we were sitting at the table, my grandparents, one day, and I said something about Frank, like it was no big deal. And then I was like, oh, like you guys we don't talk about Frank.
You didn't know I named him and
You
made
didn't
him
know
my
I
friend.
named the ghost. And then my mom was like, oh, you know about the ghost upstairs?
Oh, shit.
And I'm like, yeah, I lived with him for years. And she talked about how her brother one day finally, like they would not go into the house. They would play at the park across the street until my grandparents got home from work because no one wanted to be in the house with the ghost, but no one
And you
talked
had no
about it.
idea.
I had no idea.
Oh my gosh.
And so my brother, being this, smart ass that he is, he was like, I'm not afraid of any ghost. He's like, I don't believe in any of this. And he yells up the stairs, Frank, I'm not afraid of you. Come out and show yourself. And I kid you not, both of those doors slammed shut. And my grandmother's kitchen light started flickering.
What? You do not disrespect Frank, people.
I was like, oh, you made Frank mad. My brother bolted out the door. Like, he didn't even stay in the house. He ran to the park.
Oh my God. And how old was he at the time?
Oh, he was probably, he was like 18.
Oh,
17, 18.
Yeah.
So
just
he-
trying to prove his
trying to
badassery.
Yeah. And then, I went upstairs. I was like, dude, I'm friends with Frank. Like, dude, I'm sorry, man. Like, just calm down.
He's an asshole.
Yeah,
We're sorry.
He's a teenager.
He's the one we don't talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but as it turns out, now like my whole family just kept like talking about all these weird experiences they'd all had for years and years. I had a friend who came to stay with us, came from Indiana to Wisconsin to stay with us. I didn't think to mention it. He gets up the next morning. He's like, man, your grandma's cat would not stay out of my bag last night. And his wife says, I had the door shut.
Oh, God.
And it had one of those little locks on it because they're the old doors that
yeah.
won't stay shut. So you have to lock it from the inside to keep it shut. And he's like, what? She's like, yeah, the door was locked the entire time. I'm like,
You're like, oops, I forgot to tell you.
I'm sorry. That was Frank.
Oh, yeah.
It's just,
Frank sounds like my kind of people.
he's not going to hurt anything. But yeah, he was like rummaging through their bags all night. Like, who are these people in my house?
I didn't know that part
Oh,
of
you
it.
didn't?
No,
it
that's great.
terrified my friends. And then they're like, we have to sleep up there again tonight. I'm like, it's fine.
It's just Frank.
Frank.
Yeah.
So yeah, last year my grandpa decided to sell the house. My grandmother passed away, and my grandpa decided to sell the house and move into some senior living. And so I had to get take care of his cat, and we had to make arrangements to make sure the cat was going to be okay without my grandpa. And then I spent some time upstairs. I opened the closet, because we had moved everything out.
Yeah.
And I was like, Frank, I don't know who's going to be here next. So,
Oh, I love that you did that.
Like, I was like, it might be time to go. If you don't like who moves in here, then, just go to the light. Like, don't get mad. I don't know if they're going to like you or not, or what they're going to be like. But if you don't want to be with them,
Yeah.
when
Oh,
you
I love
cross
that.
over, say hi to Grandma for me.
Yeah. You've got friends up there, man.
Yeah, I know people over there. It's going to be okay.
You do too, Frank. Everything's going to be quite all right. That's a great story. I
He
love
was
it.
he was a friendly ghost, but man, did he scared the crap out of my family for years, and no one talked about it.
But honestly, I feel so many spirits don't have bad intentions.
Right.
They just need to be talked to like the humans that they
Yes,
are.
yes. Like as soon as I started addressing him, like it's cool. It's weird that you just stare at me. Like, let me know when you're coming in the room. It's kind of weird that I just.
It's super weird. Just because you don't have to open the door doesn't
Yeah.
mean you don't have to be
Right.
announced.
And like you don't have to be inconvenient for me. You can, be helpful. Like,
Yeah.
Don't move my earrings. Make the bed.
Yeah, exactly. Or put the earrings where they're supposed to be, as
Right.
opposed to if I put them in the wrong place, as opposed to moving them where I can't
Yes.
find them.
Yes. So I don't know if Frank has
I'm
moved
curious
on.
now.
I would love to see if sometime just knock on the door and be like, hey.
I have a friend here I want to say
You
hello
don't mind? I
to.
just run upstairs and talk to the guy you can't see in the
Yeah.
closet.
The one you're terrified of. And here, let me tell you how
Yeah.
to deal with him. Oh, I love it. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. I really
Oh,
appreciate it.
Whoa, that's cool.
I know. It's nuts.
Yeah.
And growing up with that, and I can't even imagine. I love it. Thanks, KJ,
Yes, thank
for
you so
being
much,
on.
KJ.
Definitely check out her podcast on all the stuff and all the things. It's kind of nerdy girls. I do a lot of paranormal geeky stuff over there too. So, and plug this as well. That's why we let her on our show.
Well, like we said earlier, guys, if you have any stories, they don't have to be ghost stories. They can be anything, literally anything at all. If you have any hints or tips of where the Basano Vase is buried, email us,
Drop us,
oddifilescrew@gmail.com. If you follow us on social media, feel free to slide in our DMs. Anything you want, but all that we ask is if you want us to share it on the show, just have it be more than a sentence or two. Tell a story so that we can then tell it. And if you like KJ, feel free to, if you're comfortable recording your own voice and you know that it'll be like a decent quality, just go somewhere quiet, record it, and send it in, and we'll just put that up.
Yeah. Also, I know you guys love stories, and I know I mentioned this at the top of the podcast, but our new sponsor is Audible. I'm sure there's so many spooky books on there, and I'm looking for recommendations. So hit me up on all the socials and let me know what you're downloading at audibletrial.com/oddityfiles, because I need stuff to listen to on all these flights when we're traveling everywhere. And I'm
Right.
looking for some spooky stuff, even if it's, documentary style where it's stuff about weird stuff you want us to tell stories about. I'm down. You down?
I'm down.
Awesome. Definitely check us out on Amazon Prime. Even if you're not a Prime member, you can buy the season for like $4.99.
Oh,
which is
I
dirt
didn't even know
cheap.
that. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So definitely check us out. Give us your feedback on everything, the podcast, my silly memes I post on all the socials.
Wait, I laughed so hard this morning when I saw that person screenshot my face. And they said, like, when you hear the Oddity Files intro, and you know it's going to be a great episode.
That was a pretty cheesy grin you had going
It
on
was
there.
very cheesy.
And that was a video from our upcoming
Live podcast and investigation.
Yes, which is September 28th in Crown Point, Indiana.
Hunt the town.
Yeah, and tickets will be on sale April 26th. Just search Hunt the Town on Facebook, and they have a link right there to where you can purchase tickets to it. A lot of people that we know from that area are already really excited and hoping to come and check it out. Yeah. So we'll do our live podcast. We're going to help with the ghost hunts, and we just want to be there to see you, hang out, maybe take some selfies and talk ghosties.
I know. The more of these appearances we do, just the more I love it, because all these people have stories. Everyone has
single
stories.
Person.
And so hearing them and them being completely clueless as to what it might be, it's just fun, like giving our insight and also just learning more.
Well, one of my favorite stories we ever told on this podcast ever was Tracy's story about her son and his friend, if you will. Mm-hmm. And she had told me that at a Horror Hound event. And I reached out and I said, please let me tell this story. Yeah. And so we want your story, even if it's face-to-face and in person.
Absolutely.
Tell us all your stuff and all your things and let us know your ghosty stories. But until next time, kids, we love you.
We love you.
And we appreciate you. And, tell a couple people at work about us.
Please.
Please.
And next week, I can only imagine the stories we're going to have.
I know. We probably won't even tell stories.
We probably won't tell stories. We'll tell experiences.
Oh, maybe we can do a mini-sode about experiences.
Ooh,
that's not a bad idea.
If we're not possessed and taken over because we didn't figure out the demon's name first.
Get out of here. Weird is the new cool.
Goodbye.